Welcome to my world. Another day, another time. Another of what I have always been trying to impart. Today, I shall be going on to vitamins and minerals. Knowledge is power, health is wealth. We need to know what we consume. Normally, everything we consume, excess of it is bad. If you take too much protein, you are bound to come down with associated problems. With protein, too much carbohydrate, too much of anything is just bad. I think it's just water, probably that is free, not totally free anyway. Because we also have the erroneous belief that minerals, especially, you can take vitamins as much as you like. But let us understand that everything has its upper limits that the body can take. But this can only be confirmed from the laboratory. So today I shall take you on more or less an excursion on let's have a serious discussion on vitamins and minerals so that we can come to a very good conclusion of what we need to do to stay perfectly healthy. If you like what you are watching, if you like my program, please press the subscribe button, press the like button, and you will continually informed. Vitamin toxicity. Are vitamins and minerals safe? The outline shall be 1. Definition, list and sources of vitamins and minerals, consequences of fortification of some vitamins and minerals, diagnosis, and finally, prevention and control. The definition is clearly, vitamins are substances that our body needs in adequate quantity to develop and function normally, just like the food we take. We need carbohydrate, protein, fats, but vitamins and minerals are also included, like I earlier said. The vitamins include the fat-soluble ones called EDUCATIVE and the water-soluble vitamins, named vitamin B, the B complex, and vitamin C. Minerals are naturally occurring inorganic substances with a definite chemical composition and a crystalline structure. But the ones we are concerned about are 16 in number and are called macro minerals and some trace elements. List and sources of fat-soluble vitamins. Here we have the ADEK that is added, vitamin A fat-soluble. You get the source from where you get it is the green vegetable milk product liver. D, you get it from dairy product eggs. All these are more or less fatty in nature, so that's why they are easily fat soluble. Component of light sensitive pigment. These are what they are used for. The vitamins are used. Vitamin A is used for this, and calcium absorption for bone. You know, vitamin D is related to calcium for the absorption, and there are deficiencies. When you have vitamin A deficiency, you really suffer from night blindness, and for D, rickets, bone deformities, and anemia, the E, as well as uncontrolled bleeding with a K. The list and sources of water-soluble vitamins are just as listed. B1 is called thiamine, B2 riboflavin, B3 niacin, and so on and so forth. We have B9 as folic acid, biotin is B7, ascorbic acid is C on its own. It's not of any of the B's. The source is as listed, and its use is also listed. You can see this is used for carbohydrate metabolism, so you can understand straight away that once there is a problem in when it's used for nerves and heart function, the problem will be related weakened heart, edema, nerves and muscle degeneration. we go on to the major minerals. These are major minerals: calcium, chlorine, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, and sodium. The source where you can get it from: the milk, cheese, dry legume for calcium. And what is this used for? Calcium is used in bones and teeth formation, and once it's absent, you can talk of rickets and osteoporosis and convulsion. So this is the deficiency problem, and so on and so forth. So you can just check. Now, the trace elements are what you have here, needed in very minute quantity: chromium, copper, fluorine, iron, iodine, selenium, and zinc. The source is also as written. For copper, you find it in meat and drinking water, and it's used for red blood cell formation. And you can understand when you talk of red blood cells, if there is any deficiency, there will be anemia. So anemia, impaired bone and nervous tissue development, so on and so forth. The same thing, the iron itself, when there is a deficiency, you can imagine the iron deficiency, anemia. So iron is useful in hemoglobin formation in blood and energy. We go on to the consequences of fortification of some vitamins, and that is where we need to talk more about fat-soluble vitamins. They are stored in the liver, fatty tissues, and muscles. Their upper limit are stated. They are absorbed more easily by the body in the presence of dietary fats and required in small amounts. So you can understand that the process of entry is just the same process that fatty foods enter the bloodstream. We know of lipase when they form the micelles to really enter the blood system. The consequence of having more than enough in the body is vitamin toxicity. The consequence of their deficiency has been highlighted earlier. A recent breakthrough in science has been reported. This is where it now concerns the consequences. As researchers solved 80-year-old vitamin D medical problems reported in the Science Tech Daily. The magazine, or the journal, reported that scientists of University of East Anglia have solved a long-standing medical mystery that causes kidney damage in children and fatal in babies. Those with the condition are unable to metabolize vitamin D. They are not able to metabolize vitamin D properly. This leads to an accumulation of calcium in the blood. You know, vitamin D helps the absorption. Without vitamin D, there will be no absorption of calcium. So it led to the accumulation of calcium in the blood, and this calcium, when in high quantity, crystalline, just like any substance, any metal or any inorganic metal, and causes kidney damage and the formation of kidney stones. The crystals are the kidney stones. This condition resulted in a surge of infant fatality during the 1930s and 1940s. As a result of fortifying foods such as milk, bread, cereal, you can see what fortification caused. Because they thought it was that they needed calcium, that's why they have rickety bones. Unknown to them that there is something else happening, that they were creating hypercalcemia, which was really a serious problem, with vitamin D in an effort to eliminate rickets in children. This is the history of rickets. You can see the bending of the bones, soft bones, and it's not, there is that serious deformity, and they are even short. It affects their growth. So That report and others are now known as infantile hypercalcemia type 1. There is also the type 2 of infantile hypercalcemia, which is late, when the baby, has become older by some weeks or months. It's caused by a genetic mutation. This problem has been discovered to be caused by the but curiously, the latest finding unravel that problem, because there were still some babies or some people who suffered hypercalcemia who have probably been treated with the necessary thing that would make the gene mutation, the gene mutation impossible. But this gene mutation, they found that it was discovered that the gene mutation was not necessarily the cause of the problem, but the gene shape itself. That is not the mutated gene, but the shape of the gene. And that becomes the next topic when we shall really talk more on it. Vitamin A and D are also consequential in eye when they are in, A especially, since I've spoken of the most toxic of the fat-soluble vitamins. The symptom for many are nausea, vomiting, pains in the joint, and loss of appetite. Birth defects in the fetus of mother who have taken mega doses of vitamin A are irreversible. So you can understand the problem we have in the process of trying to fortify ourselves with vitamins. The water-soluble vitamins are easily absorbed into the bloodstream and utilizable by the cell of the body. So we hardly have experience of hyper problem. They are easily excreted by the kidney when they have passed their upper limit, the threshold, with little difficulties. Consequences of fortification with minerals. These scientists know that more than enough amount of calcium taken every day can interfere with the absorption of iron, zinc, and magnesium, and may result in kidney stone or kidney failure. So this is why we must know more about trying to take excess of what we don't know. Once they are in our diet, it should be enough. But when we are now taking them as supplement, fortifying ourselves with it, we may be causing more problem than help. Mercury vapor, for example, is a more toxic form than liquid mercury because the fume easily enters and poisons the body through inhalation. Acute symptoms such as bleeding, gum, vomiting, and stomach pain. Mercury poisoning is potentially fatal and can cause irreversible brain, liver, and kidney damage. So when you play with mercury, you see, you have seen and stuff like that, you be warned not to be too playful or find yourself inhaling or consuming. There could also be iron poisoning because it is also stored and not easily excreted. Symptoms include vomiting blood, diarrhea, abdominal pains. These are situations when you are taking iron supplements, you want excess. But when you now see all these symptoms, you need to hold your break. Generally, when heavy metals, major minerals, and trace elements reach high level in the body, they can be immediately poisonous or can result in long-term health problems, similar to those caused by pesticides and herbicides. For example, cadmium in fertilizers derived from sewage sludge can be absorbed by crops. So that tells us that even what we eat, we should watch the planting, the process. That's why people want to eat organic food these days, because you want to be sure that the way it was produced, it's not that they produce it in a place where the fertilizers are
more of a poison than help to human consumption. If these crops are eaten by human in sufficient amount, the metal can cause diarrhea and over time liver and kidney damage. Lead can get into water from lead pipes and sodas in older water systems. Children exposed to lead in water can suffer seriously mental retardation. Diagnosis is just blood test. Biochemistry test mainly is done in the biochemistry lab, and blood samples are collected. ECG is also electrocardiogram. It's a procedure that uses electrode attached to your chest to measure your heart rhythm. Hypocalcemia can cause an abnormal heart rhythm, so it can also be used for hypo or other problems. Bone imaging tests. Bone imaging tests could be used to see if you have calcium issue in your bones, such as osteomalacia or rickets. Normal values are listed. Calcium, you have the normal value. Magnesium, normal value. Zinc, copper. So, prevention and control. Dietary recommendation by HSS and USDA is one of the ways that specify the normal levels and the upper limits, and the food packed, all these food products that are already packed from companies, product packaging, these are recommendations that should be even in the packed food. The FDA control measure in control of food and drug is there. There is also Consumer Protection Agency and Solid Waste Disposal Act to address problems of solid waste disposal and landfills that one can consume all these things. Solid wastes are defined quite broadly and may include solids of sludge, liquids, or gases. Wastes that are not considered solid waste include domestic sewage or waste that pass through a publicly owned treatment plant and discharges subject to clean water